Anabaptist prohibition of the oath. The Anabaptists, unwilling to observe such restraint, condemn all oaths without exception, inasmuch as Christ's prohibition is universal when he says, "Do not swear at all, but let your words be yes, yes, or no, no. Anything else is evil." But in doing this, they do Christ an injustice, making him appear his Father's enemy, as if he had come to earth to abolish his commandments. For the Lord, in his law, not only allows that oaths are lawful, which in itself should amply suffice, but he bids us make use of them whenever necessary. Now Christ testifies that he is one with his Father, that he brings nothing which the Father has not commanded, that his teaching is not from himself, and so on. What then will they make of that? Will they make God contradict himself so that he prohibits and condemns what he for all time commanded and thus approved? Accordingly, it is impossible to accept their interpretation. However, because Christ's words are in some way difficult, we must look more closely at them. We will certainly not be able to understand them if we do not weigh Christ's purpose and reflect on what he intends to say. The fact is that he does not seek either to amplify the law or to hedge it in, but only to bring out its natural meaning, which had been badly corrupted by the scribes and Pharisees. If we bear that in mind, we will not think that Christ wished to condemn oaths in their entirety, but only those which transgress the rule of the law. His words plainly reveal that at the time the people were careful only to avoid false swearing. The law, on the other hand, forbids not only false but needless swearing too. That is why the Lord Jesus, as the true interpreter of the law, warns that it is wrong not only to swear falsely, but also to swear. Now by swear he means swearing for no reason, but the oaths which the law sanctions he leaves entirely free and unrestricted. They, however, harp on the phrase "at all," which does not apply to the word swear itself, but to the forms of oath which follow. For part of the Jews' mistake was in thinking that in swearing by heaven and earth, they were not encroaching on God's name. Having therefore remedied their chief fault, the Lord proceeds to deny them every possible excuse, lest they suppose that by swearing by heaven and earth, and thus suppressing God's name, they have found a way out. As a result, no sensible person can doubt that in this passage the Lord is objecting only to the oaths which are forbidden by the law. He himself, who throughout his life embodied the perfection he commanded, did not shrink from oaths whenever it was necessary. And his disciples, who undoubtedly kept to his rule, followed the same example. Who would dare to assert that Paul would have chosen to swear if oaths had been wholly prohibited? Whenever the situation requires, he does not scruple to swear, sometimes even adding a curse.